Welcome to Within the Chaos with your host,
Rodney Shortridge,
and co-host,
Robin Dalton.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. You can listen in by calling 516-387-1922, or you can go to the Vibe Radio Network website at blogtalkradio.com/Vibe Radio Network. From deep within the heart of the Appalachians, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for listening to Within the Chaos. My name is Rodney Shortridge, and I'll be your host tonight, along with my little pin-up gal, Robin Dalton.
Hey, y'all.
Tonight, our special guest is Ben Gibson. Ben is the mayor of Pocahontas, Virginia. I want to give you all some information where Robin and I will be at some of the upcoming events with the Vibe Network and with my paranormal team, Black Diamond Paranormal Society, or BDPS for short. BDPS will be at the Tazewell Comic-Con on Saturday, June 4th, starting at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., located at the Tazewell Library in Tazewell, Virginia. BDPS, along with Within the Chaos, will be at the Pennhurst Paracon 2 on Saturday, June 4th, and Sunday, June 5th, starting at 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., located at the Pennhurst Asylum in Spring City, Pennsylvania. BDPS will also be at the Garden Day event Saturday, June 18th, starting at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., located by the Old Garden High School and the new Pharmacy School in Oakwood, Virginia. BDPS, along with Within the Chaos, will be at the Exchange Hotel, Paracon 3, Saturday, June 18th, starting at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., located at Gordonsville, Virginia. Jesus, all this early, it's too early. But anyway, I'd like to take a minute here to remember a good friend of ours and a past BDPS member, Nathan Rasnick, that passed away last week. He was 34 years old, and our hearts go out to him, to the Rasnick family. Memorial Weekend is coming up, and I'd like to thank all our brave men and women in the armed services. Thank you all so much for your service, and to the ones that gave the ultimate sacrifice, you will never be forgotten. And now it's finally stopped raining, so I'm finally starting to get my garden out in case anybody's keeping up with that. I know I'm a little bit behind, but Frost didn't get my garden or the blight. So all you old folks just gave me hell about it. At least I have a garden. So, Robin, what have you been up to this week?
Same old with your mommy. Same thing every day. So, I can't really complain this week. Just been busy. But I'm lucky enough to have my little doodle bug with me tonight. My kids, nobody in Mercer County has school tomorrow. So we are having a sleepover.
Sleepovers, yay. Nobody invite me to sleep over no more.
Well, we're going to have a sleepover up on the mountain in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's right. A couple of weeks ago, go camping up on top of my mountain. The BDPS team. We're going to camp out all weekend, and we call it Bigfoot hunting, but actually it's big-ass setting.
Yeah, it's great for camping, but we're not going to be too upset if we don't.
That's right. We might even do some UFO
watching. So, before I forget what's on my mind, my son this week did do his 8th grade graduation. My baby's going to be in high school next year. So, to all the kids at Pikeview Middle School, congratulations.
Congratulations. He finally made it. Yay. I was getting worried about him, but he pulled through.
He finally did.
Well, I guess we won't bullcrap much longer because I think we'll go ahead and introduce our guest because we got a lot of questions to ask him, and I think he's got a lot to say about the good old town of Pocahontas. So it's my honor to welcome our special guest tonight, Ben Gibson, Mayor of Pocahontas. Hello, Ben, and thank you for joining us tonight. How you doing, bud?
Doing fine, Rodney. And hey, Robin, how you doing?
Hey, Ben.
Well, we want to thank
Hello.
we can hear you.
We couldn't hear you, Rod.
You couldn't hear me? Well, it says my mic's up.
We can now, but there for a minute we couldn't hear you.
Having some more technical difficulties.
We always have technical difficulties.
Well, I'll tell you what makes for a good show, because it just keeps us on our toes. Let me send him a message real quick. You can call back.
Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah. Oh, yep. I think he's back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there you go. I was getting ready to say, please let him say his phone was charged.
Yeah, I'll make sure to charge it for sure.
Because I know one guy, we were interviewing him a couple months ago, and within like 35 minutes of the interview, he was like, my phone's dying. I'm like, are you kidding me? You didn't charge it?
Yeah, I thought about that earlier. I said, I better charge this up for sure.
Well, Ben, tell everybody about yourself and how you got into politics and become the mayor of Pocahontas.
Oh, well, it starts back, let's see, I don't know, my dad was on the town council when I was a child for probably about 10 to 12 years, and during those times I would have to go to council meetings, and at the times I dreaded going to those council meetings, you know. They seemed real boring and things at the time, and so I was always around it, and as I got older, just draw interest in, you know, getting involved with politics, and I decided to run for town council in around 2008, 2009, and was elected, and anybody can tell you when you first join the council or anything, any town, it's a learning experience the first 2 years that you're involved. And after the first 2 years, I got, you know, really enjoying it and things like that, and the mayor decided not to run again, and at that time I was the vice mayor. So I decided to run, and I was elected mayor, and I've been serving as mayor of Pocahontas since 2012.
Okay. So what duties as a mayor do you do for the town of Pocahontas?
Well, in the town of Pocahontas, we're a smaller town. It's kind of what you call a stronghold mayorship, where you serve as the town manager also. In the town of Pocahontas, as serving as town manager, you're responsible for doing budgets, checking everything. If it's the minutes, you have to review that, opening mail, handle day-to-day operations, doing work orders. So it's a regular job in a small town that if you're a mayor that's also the town manager, you're responsible pretty much for everything. You do have employees that help you do some things, but at the end of the day, it's all back on you.
Okay.
So was it what you were expecting when you become mayor?
When I become mayor, I was expecting, you know, naturally it'd be some work involved and things of that nature. But I don't think anybody really understands what goes on in municipalities. There is a tremendous amount of work, whether it's, you know, processing taxes or just day-to-day, you know, like for example, Pocahontas runs its own water system. That's a job in itself. So it was a big surprise of learning everything that you have to learn to be involved in being the mayor of Pocahontas.
Well, how difficult is it to be the mayor of such a small town? Do you think it's more difficult where y'all are so small?
Yeah, I think that, you know, the most difficult thing is you don't have the workforce as a, you know, larger town. You know, we have a town treasurer and, you know, public works and some water workers. You know, you have to double up the amount of workload that probably a bigger town would have.
Right.
You're also restricted by, you know, financial restrictions.
More than what I was going to deal with.
Well, it kind of runs into the next question I had for you. It's like, you know, I'm sure, you know, it's expensive to operate a town, even a small town. So, you know, so how do you all receive funding, you know, to operate the town?
Okay. when you look at the town, you have what you call the general fund, and you have what's called the water fund, things of that nature. We talk about the water fund. All water revenue runs the water system totally. So that's your water bills and things of that nature, and it pays the employees on the water system side and pays any debt that has to go hand in hand with the water system. Now, your general fund, your revenue comes from real estate taxes, personal property taxes, sales taxes, tangible property taxes, utility tax, and things of that nature. And that's where your revenue comes involved, and also, some grants from localities and things that you may receive throughout the year, whether it's state or Tazewell County or, local donations. And that's where your revenue comes from to operate these towns.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that y'all have had a little trouble with the local post office, and it was closed down for a little bit. Has that been resolved, or is there any other type of postal service that's going to be offered there maybe in the future?
What we're dealing with the postal services right now is the current billing that the post office has been for. As far as back I was talking to Mr. Childress, the historic Johannes, as far as he remembers, it's been in that location. That building is estimated was built in 1888. And so, that's, at those times, there was not building code standards as there is today. So when the Postal Service evaluated the building, they found some deficiencies. Naturally, you're taking a building that's built in 1888, it's not going to meet today's standards. Now, the Postal Service has strict standards on the properties that they are keeping their workers in. And it just happened to be they evaluated this building that's not up to their standards. So they've done an emergency shutdown on that property. And currently, the residents of Pocahontas has to put the location. Now, we've signed a lease on a temporary location at the town hall and the police station. Now, the lease has been signed, and the first lease is for 6 months. Now, it's up to the Postal Service to come in and, naturally, when you lease a spot, decorate the building how they want it or replace the boxes they want. Mm-hmm. So we're waiting on that. But as a long-term location, they have to have a property that's 900 square feet and meets the standards of what they're looking for. People has mentioned, well, how about using BB&T Bank and things of that nature? The town does not own the BB&T building in Pocahontas. Now, we requested, maybe trying to acquire that property, but the Postal Service had concerns if that's in a flood zone or meets certain standards. We don't know if that's going to work out. Now, the original post office, we're thinking, upwards to $78,000 to bring it up to the postal standards.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Is that what the town would have to come up with? Is that kind of money before they would stay in the same building they're at?
Yeah, there have to be necessary repairs to meet their standards, and it's just not the town going in and doing the work. You have to have certified contractors, people who's been certified to abate asbestos flooring. What's interesting is the Postal Service placed that asbestos flooring in that property in 1968. But now it's up to our responsibility to remove the flooring. And so that's one thing that's slowing us down. And they drilled into the building, 1.5 foot, 2 foot deep into the bricks. And they also sent a camera into those bricks, and 2 foot deep they found mold spores. Now, our question as town is, how are you supposed to see mold spores 2 foot deep in bricks? But, so there's a lot of up in the air questions about that right now.
It sounds like they just want a brand new building.
Well, I think that, they have such standards that they have to go by. This building, the original post office, is not meeting those standards. We are looking at $70,000-$80,000, which may be an option that the town is going to have to face or cannot face to find a long-term location. All about the Post Service is this legal terminology of emergency shutdown, temporary post office, a long-term location. It may be a thing that the town has to try to get a loan to repair the building. But in the same sense, to get a loan to repair that building, we also look at the rent that the Postal Service pays. It has to cover the debt that would be taking on and with their lease. So, within the next 6 to 18 months, we've really got to start moving on this. but we do not want to, do something that's not going to work out for the post office. I mean, so that's why we're really looking at the bank and things like that. And if it's not going to work, we'll almost have to go back to the original post office building and try to see what the Postal Service will be satisfied to get back into that property.
Right.
Wow.
Well, we jump back a little bit here, but what is the qualifications to become a mayor? I mean, do you have to have like a degree, or is there a set of rules that you have to go by before you're elected a mayor?
No, in the town of Pocahontas, what you have to do, you have to be a resident of the town at least 1 year. Now, I advise now, if you want to be mayor of the town of Pocahontas, that you better have some kind of accounting degree or accounting experience or managerial skills. Not that it's required. I just recommend it now because what you run into the town now is, like I said, in being a town manager, you have to do things that if you don't have any kind of background on that, you're going to be unprepared. And then that means you're going to have to hire someone to do it. And so if you want to run for mayor in Pocahontas, you need some kind of background now that, look, the state, the federal government, the state of West Virginia, has so many reports you have to do that get sent to the town, and you just have to do them. Now, I have a business management degree, so I'm kind of familiar with certain things, but there are certain things that I learn all the time.
Well, have you thought about running for any other political offices as far as the county or state?
Well, I mean, right now, I've not really thought about it. I mean, maybe in the future I might be interested in county seats and stuff like that. But I've got jobs to finish here in Pocahontas before I can, expand my horizon in the future. I'm so involved in Pocahontas right now that I have certain things that I've got to finish, and that's what I'm working on right now.
Well, I know it's a great little town. I mean, we fell in love with it. I fell in love with it years ago when I used to play football against Pocahontas, and I was always amazed every time we'd come to Pocahontas and play. And if you have not been to Pocahontas, I suggest you go there. It's an experience that you'll never forget. Great people.
Well, if you want to be the mayor of Pocahontas, you've got to love Pocahontas. That's the one qualification I will tell you have to have, is you have to love Pocahontas. Because without that, once you're mayor and you start succeeding and doing certain things, the love grows for Pocahontas, and you don't want to see it fail. You want to see it grow, and that's something that is a qualification that you do need to have. You need to love Pocahontas.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of it growing, I know that there's some exciting things, in Pocahontas, as of late, like the ATV trails and the high school being converted into lodging areas for the public and ATV riders. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. When I first got on the council in 2010, we were starting then to work on some ordinances to let ATVs ride into the town on the main street. By 2012, and it was finally passed in 2014, there was ordinance allowing the ATVs to ride on the street. As soon as that happened, we started seeing some growth. The first growth that we seen was in Ratliff Lane, but now it's called Woodsmoke Way. It's like going to Nemours through East Water Street. We had some individuals out of Florida purchase some land, and they've been working on a resort the past couple of years. Currently, they have 6 cabins, and they're working on a laundromat. And I think that recently they're trying to acquire more funding for a general store of some type. The trail system's in place now. They've recently added more mileage. We are seeing an increase in riders. For example, this weekend, it's Memorial Day weekend, and every one of these resorts around us that's currently open are booked and to the max. So it's starting to move along. Some other things that the town's trying to do with these ATV riders and these resorts is we're trying to expand the boundaries of the town, which is a process we hope to pull more resorts into the town and offer them incentives that will help their businesses, and that will also in return help the town.
Well, speaking of that, helping it grow and bring more tourists in, I know we, Black Diamond Paranormal Society, we work with you and past mayors along with HCI, to try to help out by bringing attention and tourism to Pocahontas with our yearly historical haunted walking tours. We've also done a couple Halloween dances held at the Opry House, which, we do want to thank you so much for opening the doors and giving, the ECS the opportunity to try and help out. So my question would you in the town of Pocahontas like to expand the opportunity to work with Black Diamonds, maybe do more tours during the year of the town and the cemetery with the increase of ATV riders coming into town? Maybe if we do a tour once a month and work it out, we can hold more tours.
Recently, and I'm getting to your question. I'm trying, to give you a little bit of history of what I know. I know that, your previous done some of these walking tours Black Diamond had, and there's been positive response to it. Everyone I talked to, there was positive response that, they learned a lot of information doing these walking tours, and they were very interesting. The town does have other properties that could be added to the tours. I think the biggest thing we need to get past on maybe the Opera House is the handicap accessibility. How would we address that? And know that Opera House is an opportunity that people need to learn about. And I know that you was talking about the haunted ghost tours, or pretty much it's a history tour. A few years ago, I went to Charleston, South Carolina, and I actually done a haunted carriage tour in Charleston, South Carolina, and they had an unusual way of doing this. Was they took history in a haunting way, and they were going to different locations. For example, saying that an individual jumped through this window, but they was telling the history of who this individual was and why they done it. And it made an excellent tour, and I think that's where we need to get to in the town of Pocahontas and with Black Diamond Paranormal.
Well,
that'd be great.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Because I know when we've sat down to do our tours, that's been one of the biggest things that I've stressed about doing them was, one, tell the history of this location. Excuse me. And also, if we've investigated it, if we've got any paranormal activity or anything like that, because a lot of people, they love that. They love being able to come in with their recorders and their cameras, because I know after Robin, Michelle, and Michelle Krieger and all the rest of the group, when they get done with the tour, people will come up to me and they'll be showing me their photos and their recordings and stuff like that. And it just excites me, because it makes me so happy that, yes, they'll tell somebody, and each year that we've done it, it has grown. Granted, we haven't got 1,000 people in, but each year it has grown. And if we was able to add more places and do more, I think it'd be wonderful.
I think, when you look at something like this, you have to, if you really want to gather ATV riders and doing things with this, is you're going to have to do it like holidays, like Memorial Day or something. I mean, and it might be involving the exhibition minds for extra part of that tour, which would benefit the exhibition minds, and, be more maybe a night tour in that, and, tell some history, and then, doing some other locations. Currently we have the walking trail that was put in place, so there's access to the exhibition minds to a walking trail and things of that nature. I think you would almost have to change it every year to keep people coming back, and that might be when you're at different locations.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you think that other, the town members in the town would be open for us to add on more places and to try to, move this along to where we can start putting this in the movement?
Naturally, I can't speak for other town council members. I think when you address councils and things like this, you have your ducks in a row, you have your, exactly what you're going to do, and maybe, I don't know, do y'all work off scripts, or how do y'all do this? I mean, do y'all, or is it just, do y'all have a script you go by, or exactly how do y'all?
Yeah, we have. we have a script that I've typed up that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we go through it. We go through a script that we kind of. It's more like an outline that we put together. Well, Rodney put together from the history that Tom has given us, and then we just add in, what we've experienced when we went in and investigated.
Okay. Yeah, I think that, to really get this, the other council members to understand this and things that, it would have to be really taught, read out to them and how the history is relating and things of that nature. A lot of small towns, and this is just a general conversation we're having, a lot of people frown up on this stuff. You know that. Well, you've seen that in other towns, and other towns embrace it. And a lot of it's because of miscommunication. They're misunderstanding about exactly what's going on. Small towns are, they're touching on many subjects. And I think that, if it's addressed more exactly, what's going on, they're more comfortable about it. And I think that's what more or less you run into in small towns.
Right. Well, I know you said you had been on other ghost tours that, that were interesting and all. Did you ever experience anything paranormal that you'd like to tell us about, either on your tour at Pokey?
I don't I don't know if I've ever experienced anything paranormal personally. Now do my religious beliefs that I've run into things that places I shouldn't have been? Naturally, yes. And okay, but I don't know if it's paranormal or just something I shouldn't have been around. You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, right. I think that as a growing up and things in my teenage years and things that I did feel things that I probably shouldn't have been around, or it may not have been a proper place, but I would not necessarily personally I've experienced a paranormal event.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess we can jump away from that for a little bit, because I got a question here. I was wondering, because with the little convenience store that's there in Pocahontas that closed recently, are there any plans to reopen it, or do y'all have any plans for any other businesses coming in? Because I know you mentioned that they were talking about getting a general store coming in. Is there anything else? Because I know I heard a rumor one time that maybe a Family Dollar or General Dollar store was going to try to come in.
Well, we'll start with first, part of your question. Around, I think it's around April, the end of April, the one store shut down in Pocahontas, and I've reached out to the property owner, and I addressed her and asked her if, she was willing to lease the property again, that she's interested in selling that property. So, there has been people look at it. I don't know how far that's went. That's pretty much between the property owner and whoever's talked to her. And addressing, the Dollar General that was interested in coming in town, they've looked at different locations in town, and Dollar General has certain rules about square footage, and they need an acre of land, and that includes their parking and their building together. They were looking at one location behind the caboose in the park, and the cost to build the property was pretty expensive. And Dollar General came back saying that they did not think that a lot of people understand that Dollar General builds these stores. They usually work through the developer, and the developer builds a store, then Dollar General leases from that developer, okay? So this developer was interested in building a property, but the cost of the property was so much that Dollar General felt that they could not pay the rent. The rent was going to outweigh what they would draw in as customers. So that went back to, slowing down the Dollar General coming to Pocahontas. Now, we have reached out, and currently we're trying to work with the Tazewell County the IDA, and the proposal that I proposed, it's probably been 2 months ago, was to reach out and try to get Dollar General involved with the historical lot in Pocahontas, where the company store stood, and maybe try to do a replica or something of the company store front, and then, place a building on back to property, Dollar General. Now, to get that to successfully work, it would take grant money, and there's a lot of steps into that, and we are currently looking into that. If we could offer Dollar General a property at low cost, we could probably get them to come into the town.
Mm-hmm. Well, that kind of goes into my next question about, I know you all have a lot of great buildings there, and they're kind of run down where, the one, probably the financial situation and economy.
Mm-hmm.
But are there any plans to maybe restore any of them to their original state?
Well, here's the funny thing, and it's not funny about, Pocahontas and buildings in it. The issue is that what happens is you may have an individual get a property, and then they pass away or they've moved away, and then the property starts going down. Now, hindsight's 20/20 for the town on this. Here's the problem that I'm noticing was probably in the 90s and things, the town should have forced building codes. Now, if there was more building codes enforced, a lot of these properties would not have been ran down. So what you're looking at now in some of these buildings they're ran down to the point that it's major cost to repair them, and the individuals on them do not have the funds to repair them. We've reached out. I've talked to individuals on the cricket, and they have plans and ideas wanting to fix that property, but they're lacking the funding.
So is there any grant money or anything like that for these people, or have they tried? Or
I think when, you talk about individuals, you have to get private grants. You normally don't see that, state grants are going towards individuals, for private property. You more see like, and I'm just shooting this for example, and I'm not saying that they do that. Let's say, for example, Microsoft gave somebody a personal grant to repair this building because they want to be involved, or another foundation that will help individuals. Or there's also loans that you get to the state of Virginia that you can apply for economic development, that you may be able to work on these properties. It's not an easy process. You have to meet their criteria also.
Right.
So what is the future of Pocahontas? What do you envision say the next 5 to 10 years of Pocahontas?
Right now, and this is just not Pocahontas. I know you're asking about Pocahontas. It's Tazewell County, any county around here, McDowell, Mercer. This tourism thing is what is thriving right now in these areas. Pocahontas has to attach onto this tourism, whether it's ATV, or people coming to the exhibition line, or people looking at the older buildings in town, like you brought up. It's tourism. Now, we need jobs in this town, it's true. But I think there are going to be tourism jobs if they come first. And that's involved working at resorts or things of that nature. Maybe even tour guides. You're talking about these tours that, like Diamond Paranormal does. That might be something, if it really takes off, that it creates jobs. The vision for Pocahontas that I'm seeing right now is we have to get some type of food establishment in the town of Pocahontas. We can have all these ATV riders that we want, but at the end of the day, they want somewhere to eat. If we could just get that key piece, I think that you'll just keep growing. One thing that we're running into Pocahontas is available land, and we're trying to battle that now. Trying to find some extra lots and stuff to build on. But I think that in 5, 10 years, if we can keep on the right track that we're doing now, and things are growing, and ATV, tourists keep, coming in town, they are, I think that we'll be all right.
Right. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have another job besides being mayor?
Yeah, I actually I work for Tazewell County. I've been running Boston Transfer Station for the past 9 years, and when I started that in 2008 or 2007, and I started working there, and I've been there ever since. And it kind of works for me. I mean, I'm close to the house. I'm 5 minutes from my house. My job is, and so that's my regular job.
Right. So they, so it kind of works pretty good do you have enough time, or do you even get any downtime?
Okay, that's a funny question. Being the mayor of Pocahontas is you might as well say a 24-hour job. It's not meaning that you're at the town hall 24 hours. It's one of these things that, like tonight, I could be called out, which I was. I mean, I was called out, and where there's a water leak. Well, I go out and check it, things of that nature. Or, people will contact me through Facebook or ask me questions. Or, I get emails, hey, Pocahontas want to apply for this grant. Or, people have concerns I'm constantly addressing. There is no downtime. I can tell you that probably between my regular job is 40 hours a week, and then pulling with the towns 25, 26 hours a week. I'm constantly doing something. And but I've come accustomed to it. I mean, there is a lot of stress being the mayor of a small town. There's a lot of worry that you have to do when you look at revenue and things like that. It's not a job that's not stressful. And I get asked, I get asked a lot of times, why do you fool with that? So it is a stressful thing.
So I'm guessing you don't have too much time for any hobbies then, huh?
No, well, you can ask my wife. I bought a older Mustang about a year ago and a year and a half, and I may get to drive it once a month. I don't even have time. I don't have time to even do that. So that's my biggest hobby. It's probably fooling with my vehicles and stuff. And you got to understand, on my days off, or if I have free time, I spend it with my family. And because when you're in the position I am, your family can suffer too from being involved with politics or things, because it takes up a lot of your free time. Every holiday that comes, I'm down here in Pocahontas. I'm
right.
Dealing with things like that, so it takes up a lot of their free time also, and so you don't have much time. And the funny thing is too, I'm trying to finish my bachelor's degree, so I'm a part-time college student also, and so I have a full plate, and I'm me and my wife are expecting a baby in August, so
do you sleep?
Do what? Do what?
Do you sleep?
Do I sleep? It depends how bad the stress was that day, or there's certain nights that you don't sleep. You can't get certain things out of your head that you're working on, and then
a million things going on at one time.
I do a lot of times, and my calendar on my phone. I've learned to record everything I can that I need to on my phone, and there's sometimes people call me, and we're talking. I hate to think how many phone calls I take a month, and there's times that I do forget things because there's so much that comes at me that I may forget to call somebody back. So I'm really one of these people about texting, because I can always go back to my text message to see, hey, what I'm doing, or somebody needs to contact me. But there's things you do slip. That much it goes on, and and I've got my hairline just keeps going back further and further now.
Oh God! Don't talk about hairline. Oh Lord, have mercy. So have you rode the ATV trails yourself?
I've been on them once or twice. The first time I've been on was when they were being built, and that was very interesting. That was a lot rougher, and they've been smoothed out since. And then I've been on them a couple times with other council members in town and things of that nature. These trails. I mean, once you get up in the woods, you'd be amazed how beautiful it is, and there's a lot of things that I never even know that was up in the woods around here until I did get on the trail system.
Wow.
Okay. But would you like to see anything different done with the trails? Any other type of... I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
The trails, I mean, they're unique in themselves, the Spearhead Trail systems in Pocahontas is, there's different trail skill levels and things of that nature. one thing I'd like to see with trails is, more of a, if they could get some more, I know that the other trails have horse riding on them and things of that nature, that I think that if they could really get developed in this area, that would do good. And, maybe some motocross type trails too for dirt bikes would be something that would draw more individuals into the town.
Well, that kind of goes into my next question about, maybe having different types of events for the trails, maybe some kind of competitions or, special events, some kind of race or something like that, especially during the holidays. I don't know. Have y'all thought about something like that maybe?
Yeah, well, right now, Pocahontas big events are like 4th of July, things of that nature, Cold Heritage Day and, now Memorial Day and Labor Day. What we do see, we have resorts asking us about, events that you're mentioning, but I think that the resorts are starting to talk together more about these events and how they can hold events that will benefit them. When you talk about motocross and things of that, you have to have a pretty large area to do that, and I think it's coming. It just takes, individuals getting more involved with it and have events. The town, we're just, strapped for people that can work these events and do things is what's slowing the town down on some of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you have to be a certain age to ride the trails?
Yes, I know as far as the town's ordinance, you have to be 16 or with someone that's a licensed driver that's 18 or older. Now, I don't want to quote Spearhead Trails or have them, of course, because I don't have them in front of me, but you do have to be a certain age, and you're required to have a helmet and different things of that nature. But you always, someone's wanting to push the envelope with these things, and, the town tries to keep that under control and, notify them that there is certain rules that they have to follow.
Right. So is there any kid-friendly trails for, family enjoyment? Anything specific for families?
Well, when you get on the Spearhead Trail system, there's maps in which you can get them at the town hall or different gas stations. There's different levels of skill, trails. I mean, some are for novice, and some of them are for expert riders. So I think when a family comes in and wants to ride the trail system, they're going to stay more towards the family-friendly trails and ride.
Right. How much does it cost to ride the trails?
You can buy a day pass or you can buy a yearly permit. Day pass is $15 for the Spearhead. It's $50 for the year on the permit for that. And also the Spearhead, there's different locations in Virginia you can ride. In Hatfield, McCoy, they're similar, but I don't know about the day permit and things of that on Hatfield, McCoy.
Right. Well, how do you police the trails?
How do we police trails? Now, the town has jurisdiction in the town limit, and, as far as the streets in Pocahontas, the Spearhead has their own trail police that, they ride their trail. They have their own laws. They have authority on the trail system, and they have the authority to write tickets on their own trail system, so that's how it's policed.
Oh.
Okay. Does any of the money that's made from these trails go to the town of Pocahontas?
No. The Spearhead Trail system, this ticket sales and things, this permit sales and stuff, goes to help supporting that trail system. The way these towns benefits from these trail systems is through, somebody coming in buying a bottle of pop or somebody coming and staying in a hotel or a resort. That's how your town benefits to that. Or they may go to the museum and things of that nature. I'm not sure. I know that Hatfield McCoy, they get a lot of state funding, things like that, and the Spearhead Trail system is starting to get more funding from the state and things of that nature also.
Okay. So I know election's coming up this year. Are you running for mayor again this year?
Yeah, I've chose to run for mayor one time. I've been asked, by the public, individuals that asked me to run again. And there's some good things that, I want to get accomplished. And because I've started the projects, and I just, I need to get them finished. Like I was telling you earlier that, I'm involved in Pocahontas quite heavily, and there's some things that I need to get finished before, I decide I'm done. There's a shelf life for any kind of politician, and if more politicians would realize that, things be a whole lot better.
Yeah. So, what would you say is your campaign platform?
Right now, my campaign platform is to, for the past 6 years, we've been working on this water system in Pocahontas. We are in the final stage of that to be transitioned in 2017. That's my main platform to get that finished. I've come too far trying to protect the town of Pocahontas, the citizen, from the decaying water system. My next platform would be, cleaning up the town. We've started a cleanup project on top of Center Street. I'd like to finish that out, which I know that's going to be a year and a half out to get that finished. And the main reason why we're trying to clean that up is to make more available space, whether it be for more resorts or more for housing. Maybe have a Habitat for Humanity or something like that. I also want to secure the town's future without having to raise taxes and things of that nature. There's costs that needs to be cut in this town that because we do not want to throw expenses back on the town through taxes. A politician's responsibility is this, in my opinion, is to provide services to the citizens at the end of what I'm running on.
You'd also say that's your pledge, too, for town of Pocahontas, right?
Do what, sir?
I said you would also say that that's the pledge you have for the people of Pocahontas, that's the things that you're going to try to get accomplished.
Yes, and naturally, it's always a pledge of trying to draw business in town. But there is a few key things that I do have to accomplish businesses coming in town and to protect the citizens that live here now. The citizens that live here now that, they don't deserve, taxes to be raised, things of that nature just to support different things. We have to look at the town council what can be changed to benefit the public at a low cost. And those are my pledges for what I want to do.
Well, so this was kind of with the election coming up for you and general election for president, what do you think about what's going on as far as everybody campaigning for the Republican and the Democratic primary for president? To me, it seems a little batshit crazy how they're doing things, but what's your opinion about it?
Well, I'm not going to say what you said, but I think that you're hitting the nail on the head. What I'm seeing on the national level is one day, and we'll just use this for example with, Donald Trump. We'll start with that first. A month ago, all of his colleagues were against him, saying he shouldn't be president. And then the next few weeks, once he, they see that he's going to get the nomination, they're all for him. It's back and forth. And now, on the Democratic side with Hillary Clinton, we're seeing things with the emails. We're seeing different things. It's just a fiasco. And what it tells me is this, what I'm saying, that, what was really concerning with me with the Donald Trump issue is this, that you had individuals that were for Donald Trump, and it was majority on this, but you had people in the Republican Party that were saying pretty much they didn't care what the average people was voting for, that they just didn't want him, but the people did want him. You see what I'm saying? It's concerning, that just they didn't care how people voted. They just did not want him. But it's supposed to be the people's choice, I thought. And that was very concerning.
Well, the thing that gets me with Donald Trump, especially with the economic situation going on in, Southwest Virginia, Southern West Virginia, and Kentucky, and all these coal fields, is here this man has no idea about coal, and he comes into these towns, coal towns, and talks about he's going to bring jobs back 100%. Well, I know the EPA, the regulations that's been set forth by Obama, has hurt coal a little. I'm not saying there's a war on coal. I don't agree with that statement. But also, the economics world turn when you got China and Germany, especially two of the most countries that buy our coal, their economies are going down and they're slowing buying coal. They're not ordering coal no more. How is someone like Donald Trump can stand there and tell these men and women that he can bring coal jobs back when there's no market for it?
Well, that's the thing, Rodney, that what you're seeing with Trump is that he is saying what people feels and wants to hear. Now, you see that on CNN, and they say that, but it's the truth. That's why people are getting behind him. Now, the question is true. How does he bring coal jobs back? Now, and it might be something I've missed, but I've not heard exactly how he's going to do that either. Now, vice versa, I've also heard that, and Miss Clinton, state that, well, she's going to follow the same thing that, Obama has, his policy. So, in this area, that does play a big role. I mean, it's going to put Trump up in this area no matter what you do because of those two statements by both candidates. But in larger cities, they're not worried about that. So that's why you're seeing Trump hurt in larger cities where you're seeing Hillary Clinton, have high numbers. It's just the region that we're in. But I know I agree with you. I think that, when it comes more to the general election, that Mr. Trump's going to have to get more detail of how he is going to bring coal jobs back and things of that nature. But also in the same sense, Ms. Clinton's going to have to say, what is she going to do this for this area that it's dependent on coal?
Now, I have heard her say that as far as the guys and the girls that lost their jobs in the coal fields, that they're going to set up programs to retrain them for other types of jobs. But this is where I have a little concern about, what are you going to retrain them for? There's nothing here other than coal. And this I blame on the counties and states for not diversifying years ago when the coal industry started to go down 50 years ago.
Okay, it's funny that you said that. That is a lesson, or any other side needs to take from Pocahontas. Now, if you look at that documentary, Between Two Hills, that was done a few years back, and you check it out on YouTube, Pocahontas was warned in the 1920s that they had to diversify its economy or it was going to collapse because they didn't feel that coal was going to keep the economy here. Now, they did not change anything, and now look at Pocahontas. Now, that's what you're saying about this whole region. How are they going to diversify what they've been doing? If they do not, you're going to be in the situation of Pocahontas then. Now, I think there's people out there trying on the county level. I mean, I see it every day. But I think, we have to look at different areas. And but right now, everything is based on coal, and it's a large thing that we have to turn over.
Well, that kind of reminds me of the Bluestone Industrial Park that they spent all the millions of dollars on, and they can't get nobody in it. I, in my opinion, that saying you build it, they will come, don't always work, and that's a prime example of that. Because for what I understand, that was designed to be more friendlier to the businesses that deal with the coal industry. Granted, they was trying, the Bluefield College was going to have a dental school there, and then they backed out. And I think that really hurts us and Tazewell County, Pocahontas, when you have nobody willing to diversify and bring the jobs in here. Because I know years ago they talked about bringing in Saturn, Volvo, and all this, and everybody's like, we don't want them people here. Well, now look what we needed those people here. So what, as you being a mayor, how would you go? I mean, granted, I know tourism is what you're focused on and bringing some business into Pocahontas, which I think is great. I love the town, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's going into a county, state, and national level. How would you go about trying to change everything? And, don't be vague like Donald Trump.
No, I think, we're talking about the Bluestone. I think there is a lot of people working trying to get, businesses in that location. But also, I'll go back to what you said, that Hillary Clinton said that, she wants to create places to train workers and things of that nature. And determining on how she's proposing to do that, whether it's the grant money or whether it's, training, that might be where the Bluestone may be a window of opportunity. My understanding with the Bluestone was, and I may be wrong, it was more, like you're saying, about more like technology jobs and things of that nature. If Miss Clinton is proposing funding out there that, it might be something that Tazewell County can latch on to put something in the Bluestone. Is it something that, I don't know how much, the federal government puts in the clean coal technology and things of that nature. Is that something to be attached on to? You're going to have to expand your horizon. I mean, you're going to have to look at different ways. I mean, there's jokes about, they should put a theme park in the Bluestone and things of that nature. I mean, I'm not saying put a theme park out there by no means, because, we need jobs and good jobs here. But, I'm assuming that when that Bluestone was developed, they had certain criteria they had to go by. And I don't know if you can go back on the criteria and change what can be put in that park or not. But, at the time when it was designed, I think it may have been based more towards coal and technology, which they may have to go change that a little bit now. And I think that's where you're going to have to try to develop the Bluestone. And they do advertise the Bluestone. Tazewell County does get a lot of heat over the Bluestone, but I can tell you there is people working to try to develop it. But like you're saying, the economy is in such bad shape right now, it's hard to get anybody interested into anything like this. I mean, but a lot of our workers in Tazewell County are leaving that were coal miners and things. My thing is, where are these people going and what kind of jobs are they getting? Maybe that's what we need to start looking for, is development of where these people are looking. Because, for example, if I'm here and I was laid off as a coal miner, the first thing I'm going to do is get on the internet probably and start looking up in different areas of what's hiring by salary levels. And we need to look at what's doing good in other areas and try to go it that way.
Well, see, this reminds me of the 80s. My family's coal. I worked in coal, and my grandfather and so forth. But in the 80s, when the market of coal was going down, then men, when they got laid off or lost their jobs, they left. They went to North Carolina. There was construction jobs. I had an uncle that went to Wyoming, and a cousin went to North Dakota. Everybody spread out, and then when the coal jobs started picking back up, they came back. But, it's just that I feel like it's the nature of the beast when it comes to coal. It's not something guaranteed. And I know my daddy used to always fuss at me and tell me, don't ever work in the coal mines, because he said, you're not guaranteed a job.
Well, no, and my dad was a coal miner for years and things like that. And I remember, there was times he was laid off and things like that. It seems like, you'd work for a while, then you'd hit a bad streak, be laid off back and forth. And, when the coal mine's working, it does pay well. And, it's hard to turn down those salaries. And that's why you see a lot of individuals, go to work into the mines. And, it goes back and forth. But, as the coal, goes down, it hurts other companies around too. And it hurts convenience stores, and it even hurts Walmart. It does. We
got about 20 seconds. If you got any information on how to get in contact with you, just hurry up and shout it out.
Okay. If you need to contact me, you can always contact the town of Pocahontas at 276-945-9522. And if you have to contact me in a real mercy, hate to say it, but Facebook is the way to